Welcome back to the Sketch on Wheels channel. Thanks for dropping in. This new Suzuki DR-Z4S, is it the perfect bike? Is it a good cross for an enduro, dual sport, or ADV bike? Well, I think there's 5 other bikes that will give it a run for its money. I think this is its closest competition. And so we're going to look at those bikes, and then I'm going to tell you which one I would consider if I was getting ready to buy a new DR-Z4S. First off, thanks for supporting the channel. We've got a lot of new viewers coming in, so I want to give just a little bit of back history about me. And I'm no expert by any means, and I value your opinion. Mine is just my opinion. Leave comments down below, and let's hear what you have to say. So I don't have an extensive riding background in any one area, but I feel like I've got a pretty diverse riding experience throughout my life. Let's go through a couple bikes that I've owned in the past. Yeah, I started riding a moped when I was 13 years old, transitioned to a Honda MR175 at age 15, at age 17 up to a Honda Shadow 750, then a KTM MXC 300, a KTM SX125, I've had a Kawasaki KX250, I've had a run of street bikes from a Suzuki GS1100E to a Ducati Monster, my Lowrider S Harley, and then also my Royal Enfield Himalayan, Harley Davidson Heritage Softail, and I've even had a Yamaha MT-07. Right now at this time of my life, I'm enjoying a lot of off-road riding, kind of a mix of street and off-road, and that's why the dual sport bikes appeal to me, and that's kind of the market I'm looking at and going down. And I'm doing some research, trying to see what I want to buy and what I don't want to buy. The Himalayan is heavy, I'll be honest with you. It's probably 450 pounds fully loaded. I'm 61 years old, and as an older rider, and many of you know this, weight is everything. And so the new DR-Z4S is about 333 pounds. There's some other options though. These 5 competitors are light and they also can do the job. So we're going to go through those and we're going to see if this will help keep me on a motorcycle a lot longer than just 61 years old. Looking at some competitors for the DR-Z4S, there were some things that had to qualify a bike to make my list. And one was going to have to be the size of the engine. I put 300 to 500 cc as a qualifying factor. I don't want to go outside of that. Typically we're going to be a higher price and we're going to be a lot heavier weight. So that's the parameters for the size of the engine. Next up that qualifies the group is that it has to weigh less than 370 pounds. I just don't want to lift much more than that. I know we're going to put luggage on it and things like that, but really I want to stay below 370 pounds and really below 350 if possible. Next up is the price. I don't want this bike to be any more than $10,000. There are some bikes out there that are great and they're going to come in at $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, but that's not me. That's not what I need. That's not my riding level, to be honest with you. And I just want to stay under $10,000, and there's a lot of bikes available at that price range. Lastly, this bike needs to be able to be ridden on-road and off-road. And more of a 50-50 bike is best for me. I do plan on taking some long trips on this bike. And I'm not a fair weather rider. I can go through some pain. Ow, this is sleet. Ow! Come on, you've got to be kidding me. Ow! Holy cow. What do I do? Oh, I can just drive out of it. If the bike performs off-road, I can have it be a little bit less of a bike when it comes to on-road, but it's not going to limit me. I'm not going to be afraid to ride this bike 3, 4, 5 states away in a week-long trip and then come back. So that's the 4 qualifying factors. We've got the engine size, we've got the weight, we've got the price, and then we have the usability. And I did a video recently of the DR-Z4S and the different specs on it. You can look at that, follow the link up here. I'm not going to go into great detail about it, but we're going to recap a little bit so you know our starting point. Also, if you want to see me test ride it, there's a video link to that as well. Wasn't a great test ride. I got 40 minutes on the bike, but I didn't get to go off-road. So is it great on-road? Hey, it's great on-road. I can tell you that right now. I don't know what the off-road features are like. I think that it's going to be really good off-road. But yeah, check out this video and you'll see what I did for about 40 minutes on the bike over in Kentucky when I test rode it. The new Suzuki is 398 cc's. It's got 38 horsepower, which is a bump from the previous model. And then the transmission is 5-speed. I know we're all upset about that. A 6-speed is what this bike needed, and even after me riding it, I say a 6-speed is what this bike needs. Can I manage a 5-speed? I can. I think it's not going to be a hard yes or no based on that, but you know, maybe we can do something with the front sprocket, but I really wish it was a 6-speed, and it's not. Weight's 333 pounds, which is a manageable weight. I know it's a little increase over you that have the DR-Z4S. So that's just a little bit of a negative going from the old model to the new model. And then the price, that's a little bit of a negative as well. It's $8,999. That's the manufacturer's suggested retail price. So some pros about the new bike from Suzuki. It was quiet, had a quiet exhaust. It was smooth throttle response throughout the gears. It's got KYB adjustable suspension now. It's got the Suzuki Intelligent Ride System, which is 3 different rider power modes and 3 levels of traction control. Also ABS brakes with varying on and off modes. The new Suzuki now has a large LCD screen with a fuel level indicator. So there is a lot with this new upgrade from the old model. Some cons to the new Suzuki: no 6th gear. We already talked about that a little bit. The new engine and electronics, even though everything seems spot on and I enjoyed it when I rode it, there's no real world testing of it. So we don't know 6 months or a year from now what these electronic systems are like, if they're going to be long-term, if they're going to be dependable and reliable. So that's still an unknown. The other thing that you don't have available right away is a lot of aftermarket products. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that's going to happen, and it's probably going to happen big because there are so many aftermarket products for the DRZ400. I would expect that those manufacturers continue and make products for the new 4S. So let's start off this list of competitors with a big, mean green machine. That's right, the Kawasaki KLX 300. We've got an engine that has 292 cc's. It's got 24 horsepower. And in the Kawasaki, you do get a 6-speed transmission. The weight is pretty low here at 302 pounds. And the price, you can't beat this. And I think it just went down by about $400, but it's $5,449. And so that's a pretty good package. And I know a lot of people that really like this bike, and it's going to be hard to not look at this bike seriously compared to the Suzuki when you're almost cutting the price in half. But you are losing some things. You're losing some of the electronics. You're losing some of the power. Let's take a little deeper look and see what some of the pros and cons are about the KLX 300. One of the things that owners have found and that I've seen in reviews and test rides is that the suspension is better than you would expect, especially at this price point. And we'll get into a bike here in a minute that everybody states they have to change out the suspension to get it to even be usable. And the KLX isn't like that. So you're getting a pretty good suspension at base. Also, it has great handling and it has an easy rideability. There's great value for the money spent with the new lower MSRP, which is down now, again, like I said, to $5,449. That is a great price for a great product. Let's address some of the cons with this new KLX 300. One of them is the top speed. You know, 65 mile an hour is about the top comfortable speed that you can go. Most riders that have this bike notice some buzzing and it's uncomfortable to ride above 65 mile per hour because of the vibration in the handlebars and the foot pegs. This bike does not have any rider modes and it doesn't have any ABS braking. Last up, the bike doesn't have a whole lot of aftermarket products available for it. You can still find them, but they're not plentiful. You're not going to be able to use a whole bunch of different suppliers to upgrade your KLX. So that's a look at the KLX 300. The Kawasaki is a great package. People love this bike. There are some things about it that have me a little bit worried. Some of that highway traveling, if that's your thing where you're going to be on the road for 2-3 hours, you might think differently about this bike, but it's got to be in the ballpark with the DR-Z4S and it has to be in the conversation. Next up, a bike I really have to take a hard look at, and it could be the bike I purchased. It's the Honda CRF300 Rally. This bike has been ridden all over the world. A lot of people have used it for many different things. A lot of people can get on-road with it, off-road with it, and there are some things about it that need to be changed, but it's been tested. It's tried and true. So this Honda's engine is 300 cc's. It's got 27 horsepower. It does have a 6-speed transmission. The weight's very similar to the DR-Z4S at 335 pounds, but you have to remember this is a rally bike, so there's extra plastic on it, there's a windshield on it, there's a lot bigger gas tank on it, so there are some things that you don't have to add to this bike, and the weight's going to stay the same as the Suzuki, whereas if you start putting things on the Suzuki, it's going to get a little bit heavier. Another great point to this bike is the price, $6,499. This is a great deal for this bike. You get a lot for your money. You get a true ADV bike that can go anywhere, do anything. Some pros to this bike: the highway use is somewhat comfortable and it can handle 70 miles per hour. This bike can compare to an Enduro or a dual sport, but you get a larger fuel tank with it. So you don't have to upgrade the fuel tank. You can use exactly what's on it and you can get some decent mileage out of it. As I spoke about, comes with a windshield, and now it does have a new lower price of the $64.99. And lastly, the service intervals are great on this bike at 16,000 miles. Now let's talk about some of the cons, and I've kind of alluded to it already, and that is the suspension. And every test I've seen, everybody that's owned this bike, their number one beef with it is the suspension just is too soft, and you have to replace it right away. I don't know what that costs, but I can imagine it's not cheap. So you have to kind of factor that in with this purchase. Also, they say the stock tires aren't good at all for off-road, so those have got to go right away. The side fairing, because it does have a rally appearance and has a side fairing, can get in the way for those of you that do it yourself, oil changes and mechanics. The maintenance on it, it's going to take you a little bit longer because you're going to have to take some extra parts off. So that's a look at the Honda CRF300 Rally, and it's a great package, don't get me wrong. I've got to think long and hard about that bike, especially if you're looking in the market for the kind of bike that go up against a Suzuki DR-Z4S. It has to be on your short list, and it's definitely on my short list, but there are some things that you have to fix right out of the box with it. Hey, it's time for bike number 3. Let's go see what Yamaha has to offer. Oh, but wait, they don't have anything to offer. I don't know why they're falling behind and they're not up with all the other manufacturers and giving us a lightweight ADV bike, dual sport bike that you can also ride on the road. I'm not sure if they feel like maybe the market's saturated. We'll see if they have something that comes out in the next year or two. I know there's talk of a Tenere 450, but again, what's the price going to be and how much is that bike going to weigh? So for now, we're just going to have to wait and see if Yamaha has anything in the future. Let's move on to an actual bike, our number 3 bike. And there's a lot of talk about this bike. It's highly anticipated. Yeah, I'm excited about it as well. And that's the KTM 390 Adventurer R. Starting off with the engine, we get a 399cc engine, and it actually is very, very similar, if not the same, to what the Duke 390 runs. And from what I hear, that has been a reliable engine. So we'll just have to see when that comes out. Also, it creates quite a bit of horsepower at 44 horsepower. You do get a 6-speed transmission with this KTM. The weight, this is where it's going to get you, okay? Now, granted, it is a full ADV bike, but the weight is 363 pounds. So you're going to tack on a little bit more weight with this bike. One of the things that surprises me about this bike, considering it's a KTM, is its price, $6,999. And you get a full ADV bike. That's a pretty good price. You get a lot for your money with this bike. Let's talk about some of the pros with the KTM. It is a full adventure bike, so you're going to get the fairing, you're going to get the windshield, you're going to get the colored TFT display, you're going to get the larger 3.6 gallon fuel tank. The last of the pros, it's a KTM. We're going to expect that it performs off-road, and it should be a fully capable off-road bike. I wouldn't expect it to be too bad on-road either. It's got a lot of the ADV features, so I suspect that it's going to be one of the better models for on-road as well. Time to move on to some of the cons. Potential liability is there. We talked about that might not be as big an issue in this bike since it already is an established engine. One of the biggest for me is KTM's financial situation right now. Are they going to hang in there? Are they going to stay around? Are they going to be the same KTM that we knew from the last 5, 10, 15 years? Or are they changing? And how well are they going to have customer support? So you want to get a bike that you know you're going to get good customer support with, that it's just not going to disappear off the map. Lastly, one of the biggest cons, and this is a big one because if it doesn't come through, you're not going to have a bike. And that's what's production going to be like. When are you going to get your bike? So that's a big question mark right now with the KTM company and with this 390. And just because of that, it makes me a little leery of, is this a bike that I really want to wait around for? Wow, bike number 4. I'll tell you what, you can look up in the link here. I did a video about some lightweight adventure bikes coming to the market in 2025. That video's been out for probably about, I don't know, 5 months or so. And the number one negative response, or not even really a negative response, but why? Why not this bike? This bike didn't even make it into your video, was the Kove 450 Rally. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know a lot about Kove back then, so I had to do some studying and really look into this bike, and it's made our list today. So let's go into some of the details. The Kove engine, it's 449 cc's. It produces 42 horsepower. You do get a 6-speed transmission, and the weight is 319 pounds, so that's respectable. The price, however, is getting up there. The price is $9,299, so it's kind of at the top end of our budget. So what does the Kove have going for it? Let's look at some pros. This is unreal. It's got an 8-gallon gas tank. I mean, where are you going to put 8 gallons on this bike? And how much weight is 8 gallons? I'd have to figure out that to see what kind of weight it goes to the bike. But yeah, you can get probably 300 plus miles on this bike. Also, from what I hear, the suspension is great. It's a little stiff, but you know, it's a rally bike. It's a high performance bike, but you do get 12 inches of travel at both the front and the rear. So here's a kicker for you. It has ABS braking, and this bike actually, when you turn it off, remembers the last setting of your ABS brakes. So not too many models have done that so far, and that's a real time saver. That's kind of a luxury. So the Kove, you stepped up to the plate on that one. Finally, this bike is a high performance bike. There's no doubt about it. This is a grip it and rip it type bike. If you like going fast, you like going high speed off-road, then you're going to love this bike from what I understand. And remember, we're talking rally, so we're not talking a lot of single track going fast. It's usually out in the open, it's in the deserts, it's things like that where you have big wide open trails. That's kind of what a rally bike is set up for. Let's go into some of the cons now of this Kove 450 Rally. So what I hear from folks and seen on the reviews is it's a loud bike. And that's okay if you're off-road and you're riding and you're stop and start and whatever, but if you're on the pavement and you're cranking it in 5th or 6th gear and you're going for an hour, that's annoying, believe me. I've got a Harley Davidson that has a crazy loud pipe on it, and after a while that noise will get to you. Another complaint that people have had is it's not real smooth running at low speeds, which makes sense because what high performance tuned bikes really do good at low speeds? You know, there's not a lot of them. It would make sense that this bike isn't great running at low speeds, and that's where I would say that it's not a single track, tight curve, in the woods type bike. And lastly, the Kove isn't going to be a great street bike. I mean, you can tell by the performance, you can tell by the setup that this bike is meant to be off-road. So if you got a long distance to go to get off-road, this might not be the bike for you. Time to check out bike number 5. And back on the list again, we've got a Honda. We've got the Honda CRF450 RL. This Honda has a 450cc engine. We get 38 horsepower, a 6-speed transmission. Weight is 289 pounds. That is pretty light, folks, I'm telling you. When it comes to price, we're going to have to bend the rules a little bit on this one. We've got a price tag of $10,099. And I don't know about you, but for me, I'm not going to lose a deal over $99. So that's why I put it here on the list. And the other thing is, this bike is probably the DR-Z4S's closest competitor. Some of the pros with this bike, it's quiet and smooth on the highway. Very little buzzing and vibration, 65, 70 mile an hour. It also has a decent amount of power, and the stock suspension is usable. It has 12 inches of travel front and rear. You also get an LED screen that shows fuel use on this bike. So you can see this compares fairly well with the Suzuki. Now let's hit some cons that people have spoke about. Number one is a jumpy throttle at low speeds. And I don't know if there's a fix for that, if they've come out with one, but everything I've seen is that it can be jumpy when you're going really slow speeds. Now, even though it's smooth on the highway, folks complain about the seat, and they say that's the first thing that they change, that it is a very uncomfortable seat. The last negative, it's the biggest one for me, and that's the maintenance schedule. You have to change the oil every 600 miles, and you have to do the valve clearance every 1,600 miles. That's the recommended. Now, I guess if you take it easy on the bike, you can probably space that out a little bit. But can you really? I don't know. This is something that's going to be hard for me to get over. So who didn't make the list that you're probably thinking should be on the list? Well, we've got the KTMs, right? We got the EXCs. We've got that whole class of bikes, that whole class of enduro bikes, dual sport bikes that they make. There ain't a one of them that's under $11,000. They're mostly $12,000, $13,000. So they ruled themselves out with my budget. Same thing with the Husqvarna FE350S. You know, you're talking $12,000 again, so budget is way too high. Let's talk about the Beta 390. You know, these are all bikes I thought about and played with as far as making the list. But again, you're at $12,000, $13,000. There's a slew of bikes that are great bikes, and if you got that budget, you go for it. You know, you'll be happy with those bikes. It didn't quite make my list, though. It's time to start eliminating. So let me tell you which bike that I got rid of the first, that just wasn't going to even be a big consideration, and that's the Honda CRF450 RL. And what I alluded to earlier, the maintenance intervals, I just can't do. I'll be honest with you, I can't do that. I mean, this is a great, probably the most capable, one of the most capable off-road bikes, and I just couldn't do it. There's no way I can stick to that maintenance schedule. So that's the first bike that's going to disappear from my list. The next bike, or the second bike off the list, is the Kove 450 Rally. Yeah, I mean, I would love to ride it. I could see myself on that bike for fun, but I couldn't see myself on that bike, you know, for 6-7 days at a time. So basically, just because it's higher performance and it probably isn't street friendly like I would like it to be, I'm going to have to say no to the Kove 450. Bike number 3 off the list. And this is a hard one, to be honest with you, because I don't have a lot of experience with it, and that's the Kawasaki KLX 300. Everything about that bike looks good. I mean, I like the look of it. I think it would be a great bike, but at the same time, I don't know much about it. I know that it's not going to be able to maintain some more higher speeds on the road. I think it's perfectly capable off-road, and the people that have talked about it love the suspension. So that's a hard one to knock off as the third bike, but that's my third bike off the list. Bike number 4. This is a difficult one too. I can see myself on this bike. Yeah, I definitely can see myself riding this bike, owning this bike. But I'm going to have to get rid of the Honda CRF300 Rally. And the reason is I don't want to mess with the suspension, the new tires, a new seat. I just don't want to deal with that right now out of the box. And there's one other thing this bike and the KLX have in common that is a negative for me. I'm coming from a bike, or I have a bike right now, the Himalayan, that has 24 horsepower. And these bikes are in the 20s, okay? 26, 27, 28, whatever they are. That's still low horsepower to me. And I know they make more power because they're tuned better, but horsepower is horsepower. You either have it or you don't have it. And, you know, when you talk about some of these other bikes, you're getting up around 40 horsepower. That's a whole lot more usable horsepower. So, yeah, for that reason, I'm going to have to say goodbye to the Honda. That leaves us with the final bike, the biggest competitor in my mind to the Suzuki DR-Z4S, and that's the KTM 390 Adventure R. And, you know, with everything I've looked at, this bike, if it was on the showroom floor right now, I would probably be signing a purchase order. So this KTM really hasn't been ridden or tested, and I'm not sure of the deliveries. I'd heard that somebody got one this week, but really it's going to be back ordered. There's going to be probably a year wait to get this bike. And do I really want to wait a year and a half for a new bike when I'm in the market now? I think it is a very difficult decision to narrow it down to the most competitive bike against the Suzuki. I think I did it for my case. Your case might be different. Let me know in the comments what you would have chose. Let me know where I'm wrong, where I'm right. And I'll let you in on a little secret. I put money down on one of these bikes, and you can guess what it is. I got a Suzuki DR-Z4S coming to me in about 2 weeks. So excited to build that bike out. I'm going to put some videos up about it. Hopefully a lot of videos of riding it, letting you know what it's like. Thanks for watching the Sketch on Wheels channel. It was a fun video to make. I gained some knowledge from it. Hopefully you gained some knowledge as well. And stay tuned. We've got one more thing with Zoe. Anything you like? Oh. Whoa! Zoe, do you want to spend $188.99 on that?
I have money, Mom.